Is my video
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely okay. We are live and a great good evening. Namaste, Sasyakal, Adab, Bonjour. Welcome everybody. I hope everybody is safe, fine, healthy, and you and your loved ones are taking care in this extended pandemic. HR Sampark welcomes all participants and esteemed guests for this eighth episode of MAD Making a Difference series. I thank all previous guests to share their journey, experience, and to all the participants for appreciating the concept. A disclaimer, like we do it for all the sessions. All the discussion done today is based on individual ideas, thoughts, and relevance, and it's not specifically related to any company, industry, or individual. I am Ashish Banka, National President of HR Sampark, your host for the evening. HR Sampark, as you all know, we have been a part of WhatsApp group, then turned into trust. We have three chapters: Calcutta, Mumbai, and Delhi. Over 400 members. We are also glad to announce that we have taken initiative to support job through a Telegram group and provide support to all the professionals under this extension of MAD initiative. The link is available in social media and you can join. Last 7 episodes have been extremely informative and created ripples to create impact the students and the professional community and identify, of course, our new emerging HR leader. Today, we are privileged to have HR learner, leader, a close friend, Mr. Rakesh Ebrahimpukar. I welcome him for this series to lead this journey of unveiling the emerging HR leader. Rakesh has over 19 years of rich experience in the field of HR in an IT, ITES, and financial industry. Hands-on experience into HR generalist, TA, PMS, ER, policy formulation, execution, TND. Strategic has a role of a strategic business partner with high sense of ownership and excellence in strategy and planning, solution-centric, assertive approach, deliveries-oriented approach, and innovative in data preparation and analysis. Currently, Rakesh leads the people function of the BPS vertical of 63 Moons, based out in Mumbai. He has been associated with esteemed companies like Axelia, MCX, Datamatics, and others in past. I interacted with him and know him over 2 years through a common HRIA forum. And his humility is the biggest strength to impact people in the thought process. He has been involved into a lot of social contribution initiatives and creates a aura of positivity and liveliness through his presence. This is true, and everybody will second it. It will be quite interesting to witness this episode to get him into action. And moving to our next light person of the day, a young, enthusiastic, energetic, passionate friend, emerging HR leader of the industry, Mr. Mourya H. Uh, I will read a snapshot of his LinkedIn, which I was discussing, and I found in an audience. Please pay keen attention. You can also go and have a look at it. So this is extract from his LinkedIn. Confused about my career at the age of 22 after having explored 8 countries and multiple international conferences and workshops, all sponsored. Yes, you heard it right, all sponsored. Decided not to sit for campus placements and decided to try my luck as I explore my opportunities as I get. Got an amazing opportunity to lead a 14-day workshop in Colombia, and as a bonus, got an internship opportunity into a business incubator in Chile, which led to me in the world of startups. Continuing my newfound interest in startups, joined a co-working space as a community and BD manager from the day it opened. Experienced the joy of handling all functions from marketing to client servicing to logistics, everything. You name it and you have it. Once I got an idea of what piques my interest, management, obvious choice was to do an MBA. Chose HR as my major because my instincts and skills favored it. Well, my instincts were not wrong, and my skills upgraded by raking it many certifications, SHRM, CP, Middle Earth compensation, etc., and building my strength as an HR professional with taste of all domains. Now, as a benefit consultant, looking forward to become a specialist in exploring all possible avenues which I offers to me. I have never heard such a sharp self-expression. Mourya is engineer turned into profession, passing out from BMS College of Engineering and did his MBA from TAPMI. Currently, he is associated with Capgemini and 9 months into the profession. Passionate Rotarian, elementary Spanish speaker. He hails from Bangalore and his path is to watch out for. So to go with the flow and make the best opportunity life gives, and this is a secret to all my folks. Sit back, learn, unlearn, and relearn from this interesting and exceptional journey. I thank both Rakesh and Mourya for taking this time out and initiative on this evening for our participants. Over to you, Rakesh, and thank you for accepting the invite.
Thank you, Ashish, for that
Thanks,
wonderful.
Ashish. Thanks for the introduction. Let me start by saying that we have one AB in the Bollywood, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, and then we have AB in the HR fraternity. Uh, so we have already, gone through the smart snapshot of Mourya. Mourya had a very wonderful journey. Mourya reminds me of a character of Ranbir Kapoor in Jawani Hai Diwani. Okay, the person who likes to live his own life. And I was coming to that point, the LinkedIn profile, and that was the interesting part that confused. So Moria, can you just talk something about that?
As I was telling Ashish, and I want to tell the audience that when I started the journey and work from home, since you're not able to go to office, it's a very tough to for people to get to know you, for your colleagues to get to know you and the people around. And the first point of contact or thing is LinkedIn. And I used to see a lot of people yes, they put in the best of things and what achievements they have done. And
True.
I always I wanted to stand out from the crowd and also wanted to be honest about what I have done. And when I was reading the blogs of few leaders and in the community, and how their LinkedIn profiles are, I came across this one specific leader, and the way she had written her whole biography in such humorous and honest way is something I can still remember it, and I tried to do on something on those lines. And that's why I was very honest. That moment I was confused, and I'm still am, which is a good thing because it keeps me curious all the time. So that is how this whole LinkedIn bio came into play, and I'm glad that it has actually come into play now in a very fruitful way.
Acha, thanks, Moria. That was interesting. I also, while going through a profile, I came to know that you are a fellow citizen with one of the foundation. While you were doing the MBA, you have came across this new foundation and you were part of this foundation for many years. Now you are a senior fellow. So would you
Yeah.
like to talk about that part?
Yes, absolutely. So actually, the foundation is called the Melton Foundation, and it is an international organization focused on sustainable development goals and Melton and global citizenship. It was started in 1991 by Verizon co-founder called Bill Melton, who chose specific colleges in the upcoming developing countries in the 90s. That was India, China, Chile, Germany, USA, and recently, like few years back, Ghana was added. So their main aim was to select people every year and get them together in one of the countries where the campuses are, to make them gel around and get an intercultural awareness. And this is a lifelong fellowship, so you get in once, you are there for the lifetime. And until you are an undergraduate, you participate in projects, work with students from across the campuses, different countries, locally, globally, and everything. And I had the opportunity to be selected in my first year of engineering, and that is how I got the opportunity to travel to multiple campuses across the world, make friends, families, and got the amazing opportunity to do an internship in Chile and come back. So it has made me as a person right now, and I'm still a senior fellow guiding my junior batches, which are getting recruited right now.
That's nice. So I think you also done your internship while you were in Chile.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So something about that. I mean, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, so actually, to be very frank, engineering was something it's a very South Indian thing, or it's an Indian thing to say. It's either medical or engineering after your plus two. So,
Of course.
and I went with the obvious choice of engineering, and I chose the least technical engineering thing, which popped up in my mind, because it was industrial engineering and management. So there was management there, and that is something piqued my interest, and I chose that. And so once I started traveling, exploring, doing projects, seeing what I'm good at, what piques my interest, I didn't sit for campus placements for any engineering specific role. I wanted to explore more, and in that year I was supposed to go to Chile, and I was like, okay, my parents were very supportive of that 1 year. They said, okay, take your time, and you can see. I mean, you take your time of 1 year. You see what interests you. You want to go abroad for MS, or you want to do an MBA, or you want to work. It's up to you. And since I was already going to Chile, I
Right.
was like, okay, you'll get 3 months of visa if you go to Chile. And I was like, only 1 month was a conference. So I had 2 more months. So I was like, okay, let me try to do something that live there because I have friends already. So that's not a problem. But let me try to gather multicultural experience of at least business because I like management from that time. And I gave a few interviews and I got this into a business incubator because Chile in South America is, you can say it's like India in South Asia, the emerging startup ecosystem. So through the few contacts and few interviews, I got there, got to intern for a month, 1.5 months, and got to correlate with Indian startup ecosystem, how it works. Try to build partnerships and collaborations between Indian business incubators and Chile business incubators to for exchange of knowledge. And in the short span of time, I could also learn as much as possible about the new ways, new ideas, the people especially, and how they connect the lack of something into a worthwhile product for a startup. So that is my journey, and I think it's still in my head about every single day which I was there. Language
True.
was
I
an
mean,
issue. Yeah.
okay, but it didn't strike to your mind that since you were away from home, so why not settle at US or somewhere?
Okay. So there were multiple
Because
parameters. So
looking at your personality,
yeah,
I'm sure there might be some thought that I should settle in US or some other country.
it is. It is actually. I mean, 90% of my engineering classmates are all abroad, and they thought like I would be the first person to run away. But I mean, one thing, I'm very closely connected to my family. So I mean, I always want to stay with my family. So on a practical way, uh, going abroad, yes, coming back will always be a choice, but the time frame I is not something like I was ready to take a gamble on. Also, it's a big financial risk, right? Going abroad, yes, you may, and I'm a person who likes home food, so staying 2 months in Chile itself was like, okay, I was craving for home food, so I know. But the one thing which set up my mind about not going abroad was I had the opportunity to go abroad from the age of 18. So I knew the lifestyle, I knew the cultures, I kind of had an idea. I had done homestays with the people there. So it was not something
True.
that it was a curiosity for me. It's something I've experienced. I would know how it would be. So it is not something, okay, I need to go abroad. It's US or Europe because I've already been there. I know how it is. I'd rather go there for a vacation or something else, but not to settle down there because I like my I like my city and I like India a lot more better. So that was a
When
conscious
you
choice.
talked about Good. So when you talk about, getting into engineering, that was a family
Yeah.
pressure. Just to add here, that similar kind of incident happened with me. I'm into HR by accident. I wanted to get into commercial art. I had gone and applied in JJ Arts and Raheja Arts of college, but somehow this came to know to my parents, and then they told me to get into commerce. तुम्हारे भाई ने किया था, तुम्हारे बहन ने किया था, तुम भी करो. So परंपरा kind of a thing. So
I
happens.
know.
I mean,
Good things
I
always
can
happen.
understand.
But I'm glad I took up
So
engineering
while
because in India, this was the only college which had that affiliation.
You know, just 10 minutes into the discussion, it feels so happy. Specifically, Mourya, kudos in terms of, that kind of risk, and while Rakesh will touch upon, I just, the audience, I just got one feedback, this happy session, as if some, as I told, when Rakesh is there, as I've already told the audience, you will always find, so a couple of lines for you, Mourya, the kind of, इम्पैक्ट विच यू हैव क्रिएटेड सस्ती रहे खुशियों की महफिल हर खुशी इतनी सुहानी रहे आपकी जिंदगी में इतने खुश रहें कि हर खुशी आपकी दीवानी रहे सो
Yeah.
दिस इज
Thank
फॉर
you so
यू
much.
wow, super.
Thank you so much.
Ashish, what I like about Moria, he does what he likes to do. He likes to take risk, and this is also, if you correlate with the HR field, you know, every time we do something, we should take risk. I came across one article from, I think he is the founder of ThyroCare. He has an article named as romance with risk. You should romance with risk. If you risk with romance, I mean, you will. There might be failures, but failures every time teach you something. But what is so important is you should take risk in life, and that's what Moria is doing with his career. He is exploring many things. He is into he has started his career with business development. He is into connected with NGOs, doing many social activities. uh, when I was interacting with him, I came to know he also hosts many kind of a shows and all. So, which is one of the good
That
quality
is
of a HR person. People connect,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I was telling Rakesh, my dad's an amazing orator and a spokesperson. So I always I think always the children try to please their parents in certain ways, and for me, trying to speak as well as them and trying to like be MCs for any functions or any events in Rotary or Rotaract or through my foundation. I always have my hands up first because the stage fright is something I purposely want to get over by get doing emceeing a lot. A lot of them are flop shows at the beginning, but now I can confidently say that I can be able to go in front of people and speak my heart out in a very comfortable manner.
Great, great.
an important question comes, Moria, just to add what where Rakesh just left, specifically talked about risk. They talked about your, passion, talked about confidence. When we resonate, a decade earlier, we did not have that element of thought process to take risk. We wanted to play safe, specifically in HR domain. Tell me in terms, while we look back, with our generation and the generation coming ahead, the kind of personality which we have developed, is it so most of the audience, we also want to give a takeaway in every element which we want to ask a question. So HR requires a personality specifically, and you mentioned in your LinkedIn that you thought it is closer to what is required to being an HR, specifically having empathy, people connect, as Rakesh mentioned. So tell me, is this, do you think HR people are born HR, or they inculcate over the period of time to become an HR? So which one do you think you fall into that category? Over to you, Rakesh.
I I think I have inculcated myself with the experience around to be an HR, because I was a very shy person, but it's only based on people pushing me to do better is something I did with an open mind, and that is what has made me the person I am today. I mean, as I said, if I had not got the opportunity for the foundation, met people like psychologists, people who are living their lives. So for me, my major influence has been like looking at my peers, the students from other campuses, in Germany and everything, they're very self-sufficient. Like from the age of 16, 17, 18, they move out of their houses, they pay for their own tuition, they earn a job when they're studying. So all those, when we see, right, I used to feel a lot very privileged when I was interacting, and those people used to be very happy, take the risk, try something, travel by earning little bit of money when I went to hostel. So I mean, those experiences made me the person. I was not born with it, so experiences has made me what I am today.
Actually, Ashish has stolen this question of mine, but I had something different to ask. There are two types of HR personality. If you come across, I mean, I'm sure you must have come across many HR professionals. Uh, Few of them are very, egoistic attitude. They will only talk about policy. They are glued to their workstation. And the other side of the story is they're very, humble. They're people person. They would like to stay with, to be with the shop floor, to with the people. So which
Yeah.
one you like to be?
The one, as you said, on the shop for be among people. I thrive when people are around. Like the energy which they give,
Why?
trying to be the best version and trying to help them out. I mean, it's a whole different enthusiasm altogether, which I'm actually kind of lacking in the work from home scenario, starting my career off. But I mean, as you said, I can see that glow in the eyes when you speak about, when you said the former part in the cubicle and when you said the factory setup. The expression in your face itself told me also, what you would like. I'm a person, a people person who would thrive with people around, employees around.
Okay. Is it because of this quality you got into HR?
No, so actually, yeah, see, there's a lot of assumptions which are correct, which are wrong also about HR, saying that just because you're an extrovert, you like being amongst people, that you take up HR. I mean, those are like people who are not aware of the role. Generally, was that, and I had that assumption. But for me, the main role of HR was I had three options, like finance, marketing, HR. And like, I mean, when I did
Right.
my research for the type of roles I'd be working on, like, say, I mean, a lot of friends told me, like, you'd be really good at sales and marketing, because in terms of like people connecting and the business knack for it. But for me, HR was something like, the impact would be with the people and not on the products which you'd be selling or the services which the company would be doing. I mean, whatever work I would do, policy making, which I'm currently in benefits, is in the end, my impact is with the person directly, with one to one. So, and that's something, I'd enjoy in any form or place. That's why I took up HR. And then, as when did my MBA, I got to know in what all forms you can impact people: LND, PMS, generalist role, benefits. So I think I did the right decision by going with my instinct. I mean, it was a gamble. Like, really, when people are saying, like, first major assumption which my dad asked was, isn't HR for girls? Like, doesn't only women go for HR? And there's not a lot of scope, because you would have also spoken to people. But that's something like, I said I would do well in whichever role I'll take up in HR. And the first company which came to my uh, college, I got selected into that, and I did well as a class representative and the student executive council. So I think all in all, HR was the perfect fit for me right now. I'm glad I made the decision at that point of time.
That's nice. So, what's your current role in Capgemini?
So I'm in the compensation and benefits team, mainly in the benefits portfolio, total rewards
Oh, ho,
management.
ho.
Yeah, so all the
Sometimes
policies of the
mistakes
employee.
happens.
Yeah, all the policies, everything we handle for the whole of India.
Okay, but looking at your personality, I don't think you would like to be in comp and ben for a long. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which area you would like to select?
I mean, a generalist role is something I crave for even now. Like, when I speak to my business partnering friends and my colleagues, I mean, the type of key responsibilities which they have on a day-to-day basis, interacting with the employees, and that's something I like. But I'm glad that I got benefits portfolio, because the policies for each of the employees is something like, I have to get it by heart. Like, it has to be at the back of my head all the time, because I am the owner for those policies. So having this background and then later shifting on to, like, a business partnering role is something I know would help me a lot. Like, I see a lot of business partners coming to us asking, okay, what does the policy say? What does this say? But if I already have that back of my pocket and shift to that role, I think I'd be able to be a lot more effective in that role. So I think it's working out well, but I plan to move as soon as possible to a business partnering role if I do get the opportunity.
So, what do you think? What will be the challenges you will face while you will be acting as a HR business role?
So I think one major challenge would be, like, not draining out your energy, because from what I have seen and what I have heard, like, most of the energy gets drained out when answering employee queries. Certain things are valid queries, certain things, but there's a lot of employees, especially when you work in ITS companies like Capgemini with 1.2 lakh employees. The number of queries you'd be getting from would be all sorts, like, to be the most silliest of ones and all that. So in your 8 hour or 9 hour work day, for you to balance out both strategic wise and this, and not letting go and getting frustrated, is something I think would be a challenge for me, which I would see, which I want to experience to know how I'd react to it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, AB,
I have a
you want to
question,
say?
a leading question, Rakesh. Very importantly, audience, this is for you also, and the response will able to resonate. Maria, there is a personality which this is a generic question, and how would you take it up? Because sometimes what happens into HR, we have a personality, as you told, you have inculcated, and me and Rakesh will resonate many times in our career, or even not many times. It is every week we might experience such scenarios
Hmm.
which are contradictory to our personality. Maybe due to some, we have to do something awkward, not awkward, maybe adverse or not adverse,
AB,
alternative, do something. Yeah,
AB,
yeah, sure.
by any chance my paper has leaked?
No,
Because you are asking
what
my questions.
happened? This is all impromptu, Rakesh. I think
I think this is how like minds think alike.
that's what No, but no, maybe if I have taken
True.
up.
I
So
mean, but very valid point. I mean,
because Maurya, how would you take it up? So there will be situations in life where the kind of personality you are, the kind of actions which you have to take, which might be from an ethics point of view,
Hmm,
sometimes might be from an organization point of view. Nothing is wrong and right in an organization.
hmm,
Whatever
hmm.
suits, and we are always, HR people are felt that
Yeah.
either we are from the employees end, either we are companies end. So nobody accepts us. We always are into doldrums. How would you handle this kind of situation, and what do you want to advise the young people in the HR fraternity to take it up?
So, I mean, first thing is when such a conundrum comes, right? We got to see from who is it coming from. Obviously, it's gonna be from your managers and your higher ups. Now, at what point is it, see, what I have realized is there's always a solution or some middle path which a person can take. For example, if they say that optional holidays, for example, out of the public holidays, something like as example as optional holidays you want to introduce for the employees for them to select, they'll say no, if you give that then we won't have the number of employees on the site, there's be extra costs. But our job is to always find reasons to make them think it's worthwhile for them and also for the employees, right? So when we introduced that, and then on a personal note I had to bring in a lot of parameters in favor of the optional holidays which the they were not for it. And when you give proper valid points with facts and figures and on the longer run, and if you're able to communicate in such a way that you totally believe in it and you'll take up the responsibility, I think it will be done. But see, there are certain things I look into play. Who is the person who's telling? If the person is respectable, if they have track history of doing the right things, they're very respected in the organization, I give them the respect. But if there's something that I can bring into play which they're not considered, I try to bring in that. But so far, touchwood, I haven't been in that scenario where I had to go against my morals and ethics. But anything, if you say it's going unethical, then that's something I make sure the voice is made aloud. I think our generation is not scared about voicing our opinions now. Maybe a bit arrogant in that way, but I think we are used to voicing out our opinions social media, so it's a very natural transmission in organization level also, I guess.
Very good.
that's
I
what I
think
like about your generation.
yeah,
Exactly.
राकेश
I mean,
बहुत मजा आएगा राकेश बहुत मजा आएगा इसका जर्नी देखने में over the decade. I
yeah,
You will
yeah,
be
yeah.
one of the person who will be closely monitored, Maurya. I think the kind of response which you have
Exactly.
given, मतलब लाइन मैनेजर अगर हायर करेगा तो अपना पतलून टाइट करके हायर करेगा, so that's kind of
I mean, I wished मैं ये generation में पैदा हुआ होता. Okay, life would have been something different. I mean, I just get inspired by this generation. They are so vocal. They are so focused, and they are not fear about what is going to happen. They know that something will be done with their life. Okay, so confident they are.
Thank you.
Okay, uh, so again coming back to some other topic other than AB as your role model. Okay, AB is one of your role model. I'm sure. Who else
No,
is your
no,
role model
I
in life?
don't know him. He just came to me. This is incorrect. I will barge in for saying incorrect things. I am also one of the millennials. Yes, I know. But this is a good question. I just came to know Moria for audience before Rakesh drives you somewhere. I came to know Moria after he nominated himself for this series. Me and Rakesh both. I've never heard about Moria anytime, and so while I came to know him, exceptional person to interact. Talking with him, I can think I can talk for hours. As a young generation or young person के साथ I never felt. So this is a
Definitely,
bottom, a true compliment to you, Maurya. I never felt engaged while talking to such a junior colleague or junior person, because most of the discussions, they don't make you engage, but you are one of them, and it's a compliment for you.
Thank you. There's always saying there it takes two to tango. So I just said, right, whenever I spoke to you or Rakesh in the past 2 days, I mean, you guys made that comfortable for me, right? Without, you guys told your anecdotes, your stories, you opened up to me first, so it made me very comfortable of opening up. So yesterday also, like when I was speaking to Rakesh, the role model topic came up, and for me, I like to have role models with whom I've interacted personally. Like, yes, there's so many personalities whom people can say, but I one thing I've realized in everyone's life is we only know what we have seen. We don't know the struggles or the good or the bad or what they actually are behind the scenes. So that's something I don't want to choose a person who I've not interacted as my role model. So for each kind of scenario, I have a specific role model. So I told about my father as an amazing orator and a spokesperson. He's a role model when I want to go for public speaking. That confidence which he has brings onto the podium. At the same time, work ethic is someone I had a senior when I was working in road track. Like the way he handled people, even older than him, younger than him, very younger than him, but brought in that energy, made them take up accountability for their actions and made them support them in every corner. So he was that one way. Now, as I think Rakesh was also not wrong in saying that, like, you would be one of the role models in the way that you're trying to create a community for HR and, trying to give opportunities for people emerging HR folks like us. So in that way, if I want to do something innovative, different, something for the HR community, then you would be the role model. So those are the things. I mean, I like to find role models from people who are doing the right thing over and above the struggles. Like, that's why social service is something close to me. Like, I know a lot of people without, the first priority is not money, which most 99.9, including me, to a certain point, we believe in, like, financial security is the first priority. But people who go over and above that to do something, those are the people, like, I look up to in terms of being the right person in my life. So wherever I see anyone new, better, innovative, I'll try to learn and adapt and quickly try to resonate with them.
Great. I mean, I just want to say something here for the audience. I mean, they must be thinking ki why we are not asking more questions on HR and why we are talking more on Mourya's life. You know, we came across many nominations, and they were purely from, they worked with HR in many streams across the areas. But Mourya's journey from his engineering days till the Capgemini days is totally different. Okay, he has only 9 months of experience in Capgemini. But if you interact with him on his other activities, he is more senior to us. I think he has traveled more countries than us, right? So this is just for the audience so that they don't get disappointed, right? So, Moria, something about you talked about Rotract. I think you are with Rotract for more than 5 years now.
Yeah. So road track. So my dad has been a Rotarian from past say 30 years, and he still continues to be. So when I joined the Melton Foundation, we were more into doing projects for the community, maybe adult literacy, women empowerment, climate change. They were like 4 or 5 sustainable development goals which were constantly upon. And at the local level also, we had to do projects. And the Rotary has been something like a family. And when I got to know there's a youth wing where people from the age group of 18 to 30 can join and do similar projects for the community, as you all know by now, I'll be the first person to jump in and explore it. So I did jump in, explore, and Rotract, we do 4 different kinds of projects, and it has presence all across the world actually. So I have traveled to Sri Lanka and Chandigarh, Mumbai, Kerala, all these places, and lived with the Rotractors house without, like, paying for anything, and they took us around. We went for events together. So this is a networking is something, as people say, right? It's very important on a personal front or a professional front. And that time there's no professional, so it was all personal front. So now I can frankly say that I have friends all across who have done amazing projects. So doing something for the community was kind of a part of the foundational, the junior fellowship which I had to do. So I took up road track, something that I got more deeply involved in, because this is something where the people in our age could learn by giving to the community and also professionally developing ourselves. If you go abroad for any of the universities, in the applications they ask what are the extracurriculars, road track is something that all the universities says has a bonus added advantage. And I was a president, I was the international service director, uh, try to make projects, handle. We have a board of directors for the whole district of Bangalore, likewise for Delhi, Mumbai. So that is something like, without getting paid, we're trying to do, be like managers, be like professionals, trying to handle an organization. I think that learning is something pushed me towards MBA too, and right now in the management field.
So nice. I mean, this nature of yours giving to the society, how can you connect with the HR?
I mean, right now I would say, especially in this pandemic, being the benefits, I want to say that, like, the number of policies which the organizations across the world are trying for, bringing in for the employees, like, from vaccination drives or ex gratia to employees who pass away due to COVID. I mean, these are all like, cost to the company, if you see in a particular way, but they are going above and beyond, and me being a part of framing this policies, coming up as quickly as possible, helping the insurance cases, medical cases for immediate financial assistance, right? This kind of empathy, or like, the proactive work which should be doing, rather than looking at it as just work, but looking at it something like, you want to do, is something like, the social work has related to my HR field. Like, keeping employees, helping them out indirectly transitions into their productivity, and we all know the management principles of how keeping employees happy transitions to better productivity of the employees. But actually in this pandemic, I have realized how important HR is to the employees, and how the businesses are looking at it and taking a back step. Forget profits, forget anything. Right now, let's make sure the team members and the employees are fine, and give them whatever, how many ever leaves they want, any kind of financial assistance they want. And I'm so glad to be in middle of it, trying, learning everything. I mean, I provide financial assistance. I'm the person, like, who provides sign-offs on financial assistance for certain cases. And when I read the cases about employees, about the parents, as immediate. So we are on calls right now with the insurers, trying to get it approved, making the best use of it. And I think, as I said, right, this is what I feel like I've been doing throughout my life, from the NGO times where we do Jaipur Food Camp by providing limbs to handicapped people, helping people in any way possible, doing the same thing now. So I don't think there's much of a difference, at least in my journey so far.
Sure, Moria. But I'm sure while interacting with your employees, you might came across many sad cases with
Yeah,
respect to the employee self or maybe their family. And sometimes it becomes very disturbing. See, at the end of the day, we are also human beings,
correct,
right?
correct,
So
correct.
how do you manage being emotionally stable?
That has actually been a challenge, especially when I just started working, and suddenly I'm seeing, like, every day, like, we are responsible. My energy after I log out of the office was like, okay, I'm drained out. I'm like thinking about it, but also on the brighter side, right? When I started seeing that, thank you so much for helping out. Like, now my wife is safe back from the hospital. Thank you for the quick. I mean, those things, like, you got to look at the positive side. And yes, I mean, it's a reality of life, and that's good. I'm learning all this. Like, you can't help everyone, but whatever you help, you kind of see back one or two cases, survive, like, on the happier side. I mean, I think this experience has taught me, like, you got to bear it and face it. uh, Otherwise, if I can't always keep having the best of things. I also have to see the worst of things, and I'm taking it in my stride, and it's a learning thing. So that one mail which says, thank you so much, Maurya, for helping me out so quickly with the financial assistance, is more than good enough for me to go on for another 2 3 months without, like, feeling bogged down by the other cases.
Very true. And especially during this pandemic, I think HR has played a very important role.
Yeah,
And there is, uh, uh, when you are actually approachable, that's the only time when employee actually reach you at any hour.
correct.
Okay. So I can relate one incident. One of my employee called me at around 3:45 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and he just called me up and told me that, you know, uh, sir, mere papa is not breathing, and he was somewhere in indoor, and I felt so helpless. But at the same time, I felt good also that the first call he dialed was me.
Hmm.
Okay, so I think as a HR person, it's very important that you should be approachable, and the your employees should feel that if I have to reach out for some support, I know where to call.
Exactly.
So I think that is more important. Uh, okay, it's just a 9 months in Capgemini. Okay, and I know your personality by now. In last 2 days, I came to know how you deal with your life. So do you feel that you've been in a cage or something?
Uh, yes, I mean, absolutely. Like, I'm a person. There's two ways to it. One is on a professional front, like learning when you go and when you learn what's what it entails. It's very easier to learn, adapt when you speak to your colleagues, figure out things by sitting next to them. But on a
True.
virtual setting, it's very much tough. And second, I my productivity depends upon whom I work with. So my manager or the colleagues whom I work with, I need to know their stories, like what their background is. I'm a person who can talk to them, and something like I'll go over and above with my productivity if I know the person, talk to them. Is there something that clicks with them? That I'm not able to do on a very as much as I would like to do in a virtual setting. I mean, you wake up same bed or same room, then it's something, and then your parents look at you. They're like, "Okay, you're just free. You're in your shorts and your t-shirt. Okay, this," and me, I'm like, "No, I'm trying to work here. This is my first job in my career, so let me try to be there." But one advantage is that Bangalore traffic is something I'm missing out on because I'd have to travel 1.5 hours one way. That is what even my colleagues say, that you trust me, you'll be happier what you're doing right now. But I think I would do better because my internship is where I did in an office setting in Capgemini, and I got my
Right.
pre-placement offer to Capgemini. So I see how it matters to me personally. There are a lot of people who are doing better from work from home by being, but they know their colleagues, they've interacted with them, they've been there from before, and now they're working virtually. But for me, my
Very true.
personality, I am a person who talk and work. Like know the person whom you're working with, not create a different world. It's the same world. I like to work with friends, and that's what I would like to make. But right now, it's colleagues and work. It's that kind of scenario. But it's an
So
experience.
right. So do you think the human touch is important?
Absolutely. I really think because, frankly speaking, I know a lot of my friends, right? Like I might be an extrovert, I might easily gel along with people, and I myself I'm finding it tough. There might be a few people like who may not. One thing I realize is what you see on the face at the beginning is not something that you would understand. Like you got to meet them further to know what they are. But in a virtual setting, right, it's very easy on the first impression to be the actual impression. So if you go and a person doesn't speak, you kind of make an impression, and that person might be left out on the longer run based on your assumptions and biases of people, including myself. So I think the personal touch of how you see how they act, what they like to eat, or anything, the way they speak can make a whole lot of difference in real life and in the work which we do. Then this, but yeah, safety first, and I don't know. I think the experienced professionals like you should tell how the productivity is, because for me it's just been 9 months and I don't have the experience of the other side.
You're just 9 months like baby coming out of womb.
Exactly.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये the statement which Rakesh gave it's totally I just realized we have crossed 47 minutes with the start of the session, and it feels for me, I'm saying personally, it feels that you should be an audience and keep on hearing both of your discussion. It is such engaging. At any point there is no a drop, and specifically Moria, and I believe Rakesh will resonate. Me and Rakesh have attended numerous HR conferences, and we specifically we believe that the more you interact, the more you learn, and we go there to interact and build network. Both of us, if we just cover your face and ask you to speak, I am people will not able to differentiate who is speaking. With 9 months of experience or 19 years of experience, I also want to compliment you, kind of as you correctly said, this is for audience, specifically takeaway, why we are portraying as Rakesh, put out. There are a lot of nominations which come, and I thank Harini again. I can't stop thanking her. She is the one who helped me to curate this kind of design thinking and reverse mentoring idea. The people like you are gems for the industry, because how quickly you have grown. If me and Rakesh, we have to say, we have taken almost, say I have taken myself, I can say almost a good 8 years to control thoughts, emotions, in terms of leaving the baggage behind, talking from an non-biased perspective. So all these qualities came after a lot of time, because we are self-centered individuals. As HR, we need to rise above that, and this is kudos to you, Moria. I think in any given point of time, we will not be able to differentiate by talking to HR leader or somebody HR fresher. A couple of lines for you before I hand it over to Rakesh again. ना पूछो कि मेरी मंजिल कहाँ है, अभी तो सफर का इरादा किया है। ना पूछो कि मेरी मंजिल कहाँ है, अभी तो सफर का इरादा किया है। ना हारूंगा हौसला उम्र भर, ना हारूंगा हौसला उम्र भर, ये मैंने किसी से नहीं, खुद से वादा किया है। आई थिंक you know
Wow.
this is what you
Very good.
think.
Super.
I think I need to get that tattooed, because that kind of motivation which you have to keep throughout, right? I sometimes feel like, especially working from home, I'm a person who explores, go meets new people, and being caged, as Rakesh rightly said, it kind of takes a toll. Then you start doubting, like, I was so ambitious, so outgoing, but right now, from past 1.5 years, you kind of get used to this lifestyle of staying at home. I should not lose that. And this, which the four stanzas which you said rightly resonates. Amy. Thank you so much for that. I mean, that smile on my face itself, I could relate it to in my heart what I'm going to do.
Rakesh, before we will be close also session, I don't want to miss out a very important question, which we have been discussing over past few months, over our calls. The data shows in the colleges specifically, and I'll come back to you. A very important question which the audience has asked for you, Moria, but this is for Rakesh. We have seen a decline in the people who opt for HRS specialization, Rakesh. While we also did our MBA and opted for it, as you told, it was by for me it was a choice. For you, it can be out of not by design but by default. It happened. But
No,
we
that
all are
was
into
only
this
for my
industry.
11th. That was only for my 11th
11th,
admission. Yeah, yeah,
correct. So, but in terms of we our love for this profession is very evident. Specifically, people who come to meet
exactly.
you. But why do you think there is a decline of the people opting for HR specialization? And what do you need to you advise all us, as part of our community, is specifically the senior HR leaders? What can we do that we bring this to a level where it was most coveted job? People who take HR get into it, they find walk out of the campus with pride. But there's a decline last 2 3 years. Over to you, your thoughts, Rakesh.
I think there was always, if you see the ratio, HR was always at a declining stage. There were, if there are 100 seats for MBA, maybe 50 will be with marketing, 40 will be, or maybe 25 will be with finance, and the rest will be with the HR. I think one of the misconcept is, HR, there is a very slow growth in HR, and the salary is less. Okay. And secondly, what they think is, HR में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कितना जाएंगे ऊपर. Okay, if you are in marketing, or if you are in a in finance role, you might get into a CEO role or MD role. So there are few misconceptions. I know there are many HR professional who are turned into CEO. Okay, for example, Bank of Baroda MD and CEO. I forgot his name. I think his name was Mr. Anil. He's maybe now 70 plus. He started his career as a HR professional, and he was the MD and CEO of Bank of Baroda. Okay, so I think there's a misconception that it is a low pace career growth. It's more on an administrative role. I think if they get into real hardcore HR role, if they get into the hardcore business role of HR, I think the growth is fast. Uh, and just to add, HR is like a test match. Okay, you can't expect a speed like a T20 game. So you have to perform your best cards, and I'm sure you can. One more important thing is, as a HR, we do not get into figures. You know, there are many HR professionals who do not understand balance sheets. I think if you get into the numbers, you will find more interesting as a HR professional, and that's where I think CEO then finds very interest in you, that he understands the business. Otherwise, we only are like an administrative job. So as a HR person, I think it's very important that we get into financials of the business. We should get into the know-how of the business, what we are into, and then accelerate. I mean, we shouldn't be only administrative. We should be into a strategic role.
Golden words, Rakesh. Thank you so much. I think that's so true. And audience, a lot of takeaways from what Rakesh is advising us, specifically the youngistan who are there. HR is a function where you need to be grind yourself emotionally, mentally, and you need to invest. Invest not in terms of competency or technical competency, but behavioral competency. And thank you, Rakesh. I think you have given all the HR leaders a piece of advice. We need to build our teams to understand numbers. Rakesh is an analytical expert by himself, so he publishes all dashboards, he prepares dashboards, he understands. And coming from an IT industry, it is so important there. So I think thanks, Rakesh. I think this will be inculcated, and we'll see that this percolates down to the people. Yeah, question to you, Mourya. Where audience has asked, and this is a very interesting question, and the response is what response you give might represent a larger audience thought process. Type of institute, be it a pedigree institute, you have passed out from TAPMI, their IMs, their XLRI. I have been, we have seen, and me and Rakesh will resonate. Type of institute, matters specifically in HR domain. When we see somebody from XLRI, Jamshedpur, since it is, epitome of our institutions, and everybody will say they like XLRI, this batch. Do you
Yeah.
feel, how do you feel the type of, is that really a matter which is playing in the Youngistan now? Or do you think, a type of institute might not matter much to carve somebody's career?
The thing is, the answer is actually in the culture of the organizations, AV. For us, why we choose institutes is because that is what is required by the organizations. Like if you go apply for a job, they say only postgraduates required from these colleges. It's not us. We told we are from this college. Us, please take us. It's given. So what we see is that okay, there's already a benchmark which you have to meet to be there. So certain, I know a lot of people like who are way smarter than me, who are way more competitive than me, but in that one exam they're not able to crack it, right? And they may not have the time advantage to re-give the exam or anything, and they might like not choose that field. But I know that they'll be way better HRs than me any day compared, like the empathy levels and their thought process. Because I have a friend like that. Just because you're not able to crack a competitive institute doesn't make you any less. But I think it is also important. See, there's always two sides, right? The premier institutes also kind of build you in that discipline which is required in the corporate world, and also to handle the different, because as Rakesh said, HR analytics or the numbers driven HR is the need of the hour, and how HR can actually make its presence felt in the organization, right? And those things, in a way, with the case studies which the institutes offer us, especially like the colleges like XLRI, TAPMI, SIBM, like with the specialized HR programs, they bring in those. They bring in those. They create a platform where it's easier for us to gain knowledge. But I wouldn't say that we are more talented than the people who don't crack it. Absolutely not. Because I have my friends, like they tell me, okay, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that? So see, you go on LinkedIn, they are okay, please, a post graduation diploma in HR is what is required from these colleges. It's not us who are going for it. Why don't they? So, but I also then, if that's not that, then a lot of people will apply, and it might be a time constraining effort. I want to know, like, what is your thought process in hiring top tier institute graduates?
Rakesh, over to you. You're on mute, Rakesh.
Let me add here. I've been interviewing IITians for last, I think, 15-20 days for a technical role. That because there was a mandate from my management that we should hire IITians. Believe me, more than IITians, I can see other who are from reputed college, they're better than IITians. And I have facts with me. So you rightly said, Moria, it all depends upon you, how smart and how quickly you grasp things and how technically you are sound. Uh, Otherwise, brand is just a brand sometimes, but you get good quality people in other B schools as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rakesh. I
And I'm
think
still and I'm
audience.
still trying to find out good IITians.
I think thank you, Rakesh. I think this is a very important point which you build up an audience for you. If you would have seen both the responses, where Rakesh, as a HR veteran, gives us the senior professionals a target, and specifically, this is our duty to revive that interest among the youngest time. Rakesh mentioned one person. I'll mention three of them. Dr. Santrup Mishra, who became from CHRO to Carbon Black CEO. Then Mr. Amit Malik, Aviva Life Insurance, moving from CHRO to. Then we have Dr. Ashish Srivastav, CHRO to PNB MetLife CEO. Audience, this is our duty, that how do we nurture the upcoming talent. And Moria, this problem will be sorted if more and more HR leaders go on the top of the hiring,
Yeah.
business leadership. I think when they go there, and most of them might not be from that institute, I think then the stereotype thought process or the monotony will break. I think this is over a gradual process, and I think I'm very sure with more and more HR leaders taking up the top business position, this will happen. Rakesh, a question to you, and before we move out to Moria for the closing, rapid fire question. Um, you have seen this industry very closely,
Is there
specifically,
is there any
and
hamper?
yeah, yeah, Amber is there. No, we will give you a virtual hug. So, so a virtual hug will come in this, pandemic. We
No,
have
you are
thought
talking
of
like a
this thing.
particular, particular HR guy. इधर भी गाजर ही दिखा रहा
you know, a small for audience. When I started my HR, I was more into. So I did bachelor's in hotel management. So I wanted to do in palmistry. So I told my father, you have to shell out X amount of rupees to either I want to do. So he thought for overnight, and he came back to me and told, you please spoil your career by doing hotel management. Why you want to spoil everybody's else by doing palmistry? So and then I did HR. So after 5 years of HR, he did not understand what does I do. So he used to. Some people asked him in his business, "What does your son do?" And he said, "Achar papad ka wo business karta hai kuch." So he recruits people for pickle, and HR became achar papad. So very importantly, Rakesh, why I gave this example, the question leads to this. HR as a function, specifically so cohorted, so responsible. You have seen this industry so closely, interacted with sorts of HR leaders and all. How do you see this function, unveiling itself after pandemic? And what are the certain things we as HR leaders needs to do so that we retain the essence of this function? You told that this function has done a lot of work in this pandemic, but a future, 5-10 years down this function where a lot of automation happens, where does HR goes? And coming from you as an IT leader, HR leader, I think this will ripple a lot of minds.
I think again there is some misconcept that while we get into automation, there will be a decrease in HR jobs and all. I don't think so. अब तक ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं है. So what is more important is we need to evolve ourselves. Change is the only constant. And now it is more important that every HR should be a techno-functional. They should understand the technical aspects of whatever they are doing, be it HRMS system or artificial intelligence or anything. So being a techno-functional will be a key aspect coming future. Pandemic has also opened up the horizon the way we were thinking. We never thought that we'll be working from home for so many months now for the years, because as a Indian manager, we were never used to, we were used to control employees beyond in our boundaries, right? We never thought we will control them while they were working from home. So I think HR should formalize new policies, okay, which will guide, which will explore more like work from home and should be more techno functional. So that's my take.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Rakesh. I think that's so important for us to inculcate these good advices, and that's how whatever advice you are trying to give is for the HR fraternity as a whole. And thank you so much, Rakesh. I move on to Moria. I have three questions before I do a closure, and these three questions audience have put down. My first question is: they have liked your spirit, your enthusiasm, your passion. They have asked the question of this lady. I don't want to name them. How do you define love? So I am not giving much of elaboration on this, but how do you define love?
uh, Love is something that you don't have to work for. It comes naturally by yourself. It's like a involuntary moment, right? Like it's like driving. You don't make an effort for it. So when you make an effort for love, then it's not love; it's a responsibility. So work, if you love your work, then it doesn't feel like work. If you love playing a sport, then you won't think about how much energy you have to put. So even with people, if you have to put in energy, then that is not love, but it comes natural. That's love. That's all I would want to say from my thought experience.
Abby, I
Or
think you
I
should
am not
share
sure.
the number offline.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I was about to say that, Rakesh. I don't know whether lady has been, what the question, what she asked, whether she got the appropriate reply. But we will, move on to the next question. So I don't want my mad series to cut into a matchmaking series. So that is. So next question to you, Moria. A penultimate question. Interview is very important. Me and Rakesh takes a lot of interviews and we evaluate people. If you have to build up your team, and I have no doubt, going forward, next, I told you over this call also, next 10 years down the line, we will see you in a very senior leadership position. And if you have to interview people, what do you think are the qualities which you would like to look for while you identify and select people for your team?
Uh, First thing would be honesty, because skills you can build up. If you're honest, you can know where to fill in the gaps. If the person is honest, okay, this is the area which we have to work upon. So I think honesty is something which attracts me because I am honest. I like people who are honest. It's a give and take. So that is something. And a person who doesn't have attitude, I think that's a thing for me. Like someone who does show attitude, I think sorry, boss, you can find somewhere else. I think honesty and a good attitude, in the sense that no extra attitude. If they don't have attitude, also it's fine, but nothing like over and above. So
But
Very
these are
good.
the
I
Moria,
things.
if
think,
you are
thank you so much.
hiring,
I think,
but Moria, if you are hiring a senior person, okay, and your boss or maybe the stakeholder has taken
Mhm.
the interview and he is selected, and you are taking a HR round, and you find that there is some slight of attitude in that candidate. So what will you do?
I try to get to know the person better to make sure to be double sure if the person has attitude or not. And if
No,
it
he
is, I
has an
try
attitude. He or she has an attitude. What will you do? You know
to,
that he or she person is not fit for the organization. What will you do as a HR?
at that moment I will try to see what's important. If the person is bringing the business, I think if it's a person who's bringing the business and business is the first priority at that moment, then yes, I'll have to give away. But I'll obviously put my opinions first to the senior manager who would have interviewed them. But if it's something like this is not the only person who can do it, then I'll try to find for alternatives and keep that person on hold and see to find a better person and try to take the time and from the senior manager. I don't know how it works, but this would
So,
be the person.
so yeah, so here's the catch. When you just give your opinion to a management, then you are just an administrative. If you have the position to say no, no, this person has an attitude, and I'm rejecting as a HR that this person shouldn't be in our organization because it's a misfit, then you
Huh.
are a HR person.
Okay. Done. Done.
Okay, and
yeah,
one
and
more
the,
question.
the
Is it important to take interviews in English language?
No. No,
What do you
absolutely
think
not.
so?
Absolutely not. I mean, not everyone is privileged as us. And that's why they say, right, multilingual HR is one of the most skilled HR is something I read somewhere. Because, I mean, especially in South India, if you do go into the lower, people are willing to work way more than us. But because of lack of communication, they can't. So that's something I have personally seen because when I did my internship, No one understood English because they all spoke Spanish. But they gave me a chance. Like every single document had to translate from Google, translate from Spanish to English, and then my words back into those. So being in that position, I knew if they treated me unfairly, then I would have been at the receiving end of it. So it's, through personal experience, I would never uh, use that as a parameter.
Good.
So good, yeah, Mourya. I think that's such an important thing, and that is also audience for you. Sometimes we become judgmental if we don't experience. Mourya is able to carry this learning throughout his life because he had an experience. So just in case we don't have experience, let us not judge, the book by cover. And the last question to you, Mourya, and while just to before I ask, Rakesh told to share the number offline. Somebody commented in his Facebook post today, the most handsome HR. I don't know what competition is happening, but maybe
But
so
okay, no. So there is no competition. There is a totally a generation gap. He, Moria can take the young generation. I can manage with the later generation. Not an issue.
uh,
We are sorted.
yeah. Correct. Absolutely. You both have already done the barter system. Very nice. So, Moria, last question to you: entrepreneurship. HR as a function. If we do entrepreneurship, it is conflict of interest in some organizations. We are not
Hmm.
supposed to. So, do you think you as a person? Yeah, you as a person. Two questions. Going forward, if you get an opportunity to make policies, you
Mhm.
will allow people to do entrepreneurship apart from employment, and comes to you do you feel entrepreneurship is something which you would like to take it up in future, or you feel HR journey reaching the epitome business leadership is something which you like to do?
To answer the first question, if I do have the capability to create a formulate a policy, I would encourage people to do entrepreneurship on the side, even if it doesn't relate to the business. It should not be against a business. It should not be a competitor. There's obviously the legal things that it should not go against what we are doing. If there's totally acceptable, then we will push, because I have read a lot of companies are creating their own startups inside their own things and asking employees to come up with their own ideas, and they're sponsoring them, and that's something which will pick up in India also. So absolutely yes. And me, about becoming an entrepreneur, first things first, I need to clear out my loan, education loan. So yes, but then I want to gather experience, and if I think that there is something, I would be able to free my arms more better and not be restricted due to certain things. That's something I would be interested upon in, and I need a good partner. Obviously, I because I don't do well alone. So with a good team, I would surely be interested in doing something on business side too. Absolutely yes.
Great, yeah, Maria. I think um, while I am run down with my questions and time also, while specifically this is one of the sessions, as we say, digital media will always be there, even after us, when we
Yeah.
there, and that is the reason, and I'm sure, Maria, there is no doubt about your success, the kind of articulation you have done, and with young people, when we give this opportunity, the only fear which comes to me, whether they will come forward and take that,
Hmm.
Rakesh and me will do our bit, but the person will articulate it well. Moria, listening to you, as I repeat again, there is no difference listening to you or a senior HR leader. If I do not get the names and if you speak, I hear you on. That is one which you have maturity, which you have got at a very young age, and also in terms of taking risk and taking step at a time. Not thinking too far. That is also one kind of quality. We as Indians, and specifically, we think too far. Our family, kids, financial stability, and that restricts are what we are at present time. I think that you have eradicated all those things. Brilliant, I think, and Rakesh has such storyline, starting from his education. It was so engaging. ऐसा लग रहा है कि 1 घंटे का ना कोई थिएटर मूवी देख रहे हैं. And Rakesh brought a very important point, specifically being linguistic. And I think that is so important. I am a Marwadi born in Bengal. Rakesh is a Maharashtrian. You are a Kannadiga. And I think a befitting end with this, to the session, if you have to give, I will request you and Rakesh to use your mother tongue to end, say about your experience. And Rakesh, if you can want to, say about your what you felt about this discussion and what advice you want to give in Marathi. And Mourya, your message to the audience in Kannada. I think Rakesh, I will go with first with you.
Okay, so my message should be to all the HR professionals that we should be very humble and empathy because
Rakesh,
we are
Marathi,
for
Marathi, Maraठी, Maraठी,
बापरे.
no English. मराठी तुमचं
अच्छा,
मराठीमध्ये
okay.
बोलायचं आहे.
So before I talk in Marathi, Mourya, you visited Mumbai. You said, while you were in road track. Did you enjoy vada pav here?
Best vada pav I ever had. I mean, the best food item for that pricing. I mean, I could have that all the time.
Okay. तर माझा मेसेज असा असेल की आपण नेहमी प्रयत्न करत राहावं आणि पुढे जात राहावं. So that there was one say by I think Martin Luther King, if you can't fly, you should run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But it's very important you should keep moving. So my message will be in Marathi that पुढे चालत राहा आणि मेहनत करत राहा. एक ना एक दिवस success will be there.
Thank you so much, Rakesh. I think so inspiring. ऐसा लगा it's so touching, and such a lively message. Thank you so much, Rakesh. I think this is so important for that. Over to you, Mourya.
ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗೂ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ HR ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್ ಜನಗಳ್ಗೆ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್. ಬರೀ ಬೇರೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಂಥರ ದುಡ್ಡು ದುಡಿಬಹುದು, ಆದ್ರೆ ಜನಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಇರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಂದ್ರೆ HR. ಅದ್ರಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಂತೋಷ, ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಗೋದು ಯಾವ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ಲೂ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾನ್ ಅಂತೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಅಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ನಿಮ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇಕ್ಕಿ HR ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ರಿ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ HR ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್, and please try to think over and above, and let's create a better HR.
Thank you so much. I think, Mourya, I think, I will not ask you to translate, because when some leader says, we as audience need to go and do Google and understand what you have said. So people who want to understand what Mourya, please refer to Google Uncle and get your queries. This session I will be chairing personally for a very long time. And HR Sampark as a team, thanks Rakesh, for leading this, and always he's there to support.
Thanks.
As a friend, philosopher, guide, and this is very important. I want to tell audience, not many HR professionals are there who uh, percolate leading from behind concept, and Rakesh is one of them whose humility and humbleness has given a lot of guidance to the people. And thank you, Rakesh, for keep doing it, and becoming a torchbearer for this. And Mourya, to you, the kind of maturity, energy, passion, confidence which you have shown at such a young age, I think this will inspire many people. And this will also lead many people to take up HR as a profession. And as you told, you are not crafted, cut out for HR, and you have made yourself drafted. So not crafted, but you are drafted for HR. So I think following your 3 P's, people, performance, and passion, which I could take away from your journey. I think I will take it up, and difficult to imbibe what you are doing, as a honestly, as a person, as specifically not taking risk, taking risk in terms of thinking present at a time. Not it's great qualities, and this takes you long way. I have no doubt next a decade you will be one of the HR leaders, and you will be one of our guests, as I think this will be a perfect circle to this. I thank both of you. I wish both of you great success, and the work which you are doing for the community is tremendous. Be safe, lots of love, and this connection will transform with you, Mourya, me and Rakesh, both to turn into relationships. As LinkedIn says, connections, but this is our effort which takes connection to relationships. I thank both of you from Team Sampark family, and thank you all participants for tuning in. Your support and your appreciation to this, to make a difference in somebody and identify, is very important. Thank you so much. I wish all of you a great, safe, and fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Ashish,
you.
for bringing me on this platform, wherein I can get in touch with Moria, who is actually very inspiring for all of us. And my best wishes to Moria. I'm sure
Thank
he'll be in Mumbai soon as one of the panelists, and we
Yeah,
will
sure,
see
sure.
frequently. Okay.
I'm sure that
Thank you so
with your
much.
blessings, both of your blessings, that would be possible. And thank you so much, like HR, Sampark, and AB. Like, I mean, the efforts you guys are taking, giving a person like me an opportunity to speak on such a platform and interact with you guys. This is going to be one of my favorite memories and a learning. Oh, trust me, I'm going to be learning a lot from this. I've been going to, whenever I feel low, I'm going to think about this and make sure that I work well for everyone. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Great,
you so much.
great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, thanks. Thank you.